To you at that party.
Yes.
Sarah Silverman's party.
She got a good party.
It's a good party. I didn't stay the whole run, but it's a nice party.
It's a good party. It's I see a lot of people there who I only see at that party, so I like it. That's a good party. And it's like a low key celebrity party, and no one's. You know what I liked about the party, and I told her I was impressed with the party. Nobody was on their phone.
Right.
Which in this day and age is the sign of a good party.
And Senator Al Franken showed up.
Did he? I didn't see him.
Yeah, that was something else. I was like, that's Al Franken. Because now, I've known Al for years, and I did Air America with him, but now it's like, that's Senator Franken.
Right.
Hanging out with the showbiz types.
Right. And then, and of course it's the Sarah Silverman party. Not to say that Senator Franklin had anything to do with it, because I didn't even see him there.
Yeah.
But, everybody was... it's in Los Angeles, openly smoking marijuana and eating stuff and all that stuff. But it's a good party.
New York pizza brought in. New York
pizza
from Joe's.
Yep, good party.
Do you know, is there good pizza here?
I think there's good pizza. I think the whole pizza culture in general...
it put some thought into it.
It's changed. It's like, now, there's good pizza here. It's different. I think, pizza in New York is no fucking, nothing to be so proud about.
There's a couple. There's got to be a couple.
There's good places, but it's not like where it was Church and State, where it was just good pizza in New York, and then Mulberry Street opened. And now there's all sorts of different kinds of pizzas.
Right.
There's fancy pizzas. There's
wood
vegan
oven.
pizzas.
Yeah.
Wood oven. Mozza. There's all sorts of shit.
Where do you go in New York? Do you go?
I go to, you could get a good pizza at a local place, like a local slice place. So I go to my local slice place, but I go to Patsy's I like.
Yeah.
But I'm not waiting on a line for a slice of pizza.
Right.
I don't give a fuck if God shat it out of his ass. I'm not going for, I'm not waiting on line, because there's that whole thing too. So, but I like Joe's downtown.
Joe's you mean on 6, Carmine?
On 6. That's always good.
Right?
Yeah.
I think that's the best one.
Yeah, I think it's, I don't know if it's the best. I'm sure there's other ones, but I'm not like a pizza scavenger.
Me neither, but there used to be a place on 48th right off of Broadway there that was really good. I can't remember what the fuck the name of it. They had that grandma slice.
Right.
Which became popular. I like that. And now Two Boots opened downtown, which I didn't realize.
Two Boots is good. Two Boots is good.
Cornmeal crust. I remember when the first one opened on Avenue A, I think.
Yep.
And they put a little one right downtown here. I don't know who goes to it, but it was pretty good.
Two Boots is good. I like, but I like. But again, I'm not going all out of my way and all that shit for any kind of food.
I won't wait online either.
I'm not waiting online for.
You go to Austin?
No, I've only been to Austin once, and it was just briefly.
What? Why? It seems
they
like
they've never had me out there.
Yeah, for any reason. There was no reason.
Particular reason. I've never had any reason.
But is it Rapaport to go to Austin?
Does it live up to all the expectations and hype?
No, but there is. I was just the reason I brought it up is because there's a barbecue place called Franklin's. That's the hipster barbecue place. People wait online 3 fucking hours.
Fuck that shit.
How the fuck can
I could kill my own cow barbecue myself for
in the
3 fucking hours.
that would take you? All right, so let's go back over because I'm trying to think when I first. I knew you were alive. I guess it was around the Zebrahead movie.
Yeah, Zebrahead was when I first made my enormous splash.
But am I mistaken in that you were a stand-up? Because I remember there's some contention over the fact, who's this guy Michael Rapaport? Is he a fucking stand-up? What's he doing up there? I don't know him as a stand-up.
Right. Well, when at the time, there was a little contention. My stand-up career was short-lived.
Uh-huh.
So I came out to Los Angeles in 1989.
From New York.
From New York. I was 19. And I started, I never really was I never really considered myself like a stand-up. I didn't understand the whole idea of making an act. I was 19.
Right.
So I would talk a lot of shit, pretty much the same thing I do now.
Right.
But more unstructured shit talking than I'm actually even doing for you right now.
Right.
Because right now I have a beginning, middle, and end to some of my shit talking.
Oh, yeah. You've honed it.
I've honed my shit talking.
The life story.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So as far as my stand-up, I was doing stand-up. But I would host. I had my 20 minutes and all that stuff. I didn't know that there was contention. But, I felt like at that time with stand-up comedy was it was like disco. It was the disco era of stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
And there was there was a lot of good stand-ups hanging around, especially the improv, which was which my stomp arounds was,
But were you affiliated? Were you a relative? Is Claudia your cousin?
Claudia is my sister.
Claudia Launau
is my half sister. Her actual name is Claudia Rapaport, and her stepfather is Marc Launau.
Right.
So.
Who owned the improv with Bud Friedman at the time.
Exactly. So but I did my shit there, you know what I mean? I would go up on open mic and all that stuff, but I was doing my thing, Mark. Like, I wasn't a chump.
Right.
Like, I wasn't like, Chris Rock or Jay Leno. But when I got up there, motherfuckers laughed.
Yeah, it was real. I
and
get
at the end of the day, it's like you get up there and either motherfuckers are going to laugh or they're not going to laugh.
But so wait, I don't understand. So wait, Marc Maron is not your stepdad?
Marc Maron is my half-sister's stepfather. So she remarried. That's why I try to keep the short version. Yeah, so Claudia, and I would come visit my sister, and I would actually come visit her before I even thought about becoming a stand-up comic. When I was 13,
Where are you growing up now?
Manhattan, New York City.
You did?
All New York, everything.
And really? What part of New York?
East side of Manhattan.
Really?
Yes.
So you're a real Manhattan kid?
My whole life.
How old are you?
45. I look 27, right?
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. So, like, even when you were a kid, like when I was younger, so you remember, like, when New York was, like, full of drugs and great and, the disco time and you're running around?
Of course.
Like, did you go to CBGB's when you were 13?
No.
That wasn't your thing, right?
That wasn't my thing. I mean, I started going to hip-hop clubs when I was 15.
Oh, there you go.
And it was like, it was probably more like CBGB's than you would think, because it was definitely like an underground.
Yeah, no, I never knew about the hip hop thing. Where'd you go?
I would go to like Union Square. Latin Quarters had a big hip hop night that was like a big thing. Then we started going like to a place in Harlem called the Rooftop. These are like sort of quintessential hip hop spots before, like the spots before that.
And
like,
you'd see live shows?
Live shows.
Do you remember who you saw?
Shit, I saw everybody. I saw Biz Markie. I saw fucking Big Daddy Kane. I saw, KRS. I mean, I saw like, it was emerging. You know, and the clubs that I went to, there was no alcohol served. So
all
any
ages.
So I was in there as 15 with grown men, and there was fights, and there was girls with fat asses, and it was a wild thing to see. I was 15 years old, and people would be getting the shit beaten out of them, and music would be playing, and people would get carried out. Girls would get the earrings snatched, and I loved the music, and we just went one weekend, and I was like, we just kept going.
So did you grow up? What were your parents? Are they in show business?
No, my father was the general manager of a radio station. Speaking of disco, of a radio station in New York called WKTU Disco 92. Yeah, was the first station in New York to play disco music
in the 70s.
In the late 70s. Well, in the 70s they played mellow, and then in like 78, 79. He was the one who said we should play disco. They went from the bottom of the charts to the top of the charts.
So your dad was on the cutting edge of all that Danceteria shit, Studio 54, all
that.
They
called him Disco Dave.
Oh, my God.
And he was just a Jew from the East Side trying to raise a family.
Is he still around?
Oh, yeah, he's still around.
Did he have his time? Did he party?
He had his time, and he partied more than I think he shares me. But he was a single dad. I mean, I was with my father most of the time, but my mother and my father divorced when I was young. But he was just a guy, raising his kids. But he had his nights at Studio 54. And, he was doing his thing, and he was running the hottest radio station in New York City at the time. So it was a big deal, and it was disco, and it was Studio 54 and cocaine, and I don't know what the fuck he was doing.
Yeah, but it's interesting though, because if he was running the station, the relationships are sort of you had access. Yes. Sometimes you got free shit.
Yes.
Like I'm sure it's like, we want a car. I got a guy, right? Like
cars, sneakers. There was all the sneaker thing was cool because the radio station had some deal with a non-chain sneaker place in New York called On the Run. Yeah. And they had a deal with them, so I'd go in there and get free sneakers sometimes. And as a kid, it was like I was like, yo, I could go and get free sneakers and shit.
It's important.
Yeah. So it was cool, and and because of he worked at the radio station, how I got exposed to all sorts of music, but hip hop is like in 1979 he brought home a test pressing of the Sugar Hill Gang's Rapper's Delight. It was a promotional copy. Right. And he was like, we're going to start playing this on the radio. It's called rap music. Yeah. And that was it for me. Like, I fell in love. I fell in love. And it was like, at the time, there was no internet. There was no that. Oh, plus, I was 9. So when I got the record, it was like you lived in the record. Yeah. You would play it over and over and over and over. And it was so unusual.
You know all the words?
Of course. I mean, of course, Rapper's Delight. I knew and there was a long version. It was a 33-inch, so I knew the long version, and there was a short. But there was like a 15 or 20-minute version of Rapper's Delight, and me and my brother, and then finally he bowed out, and my father was like, "Turn that shit off." I was like, "You brought it home to me, But I just it was like a love affair. Like I fell in love with that music as a kid, innocently. So.
Yeah, and it was just you and your brother and your father.
Me and my brother, my father, my sister Claudia. Yeah. Who started this whole fucking fucking thing.
Yeah.
She lived with her mom, and then she was an actress. My sister, she was actually a teenage actress. She started acting early. She got a part. She went to music and art in New York City.
Right. And her mother is an actor, right?
Joanne too.
Yeah, she was an actress.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, and she's still alive. But my sister got a part on the TV show Knots Landing.
Right.
She played Diana on Knots Landing.
Right.
And that's kind of like how
you started coming out.
I started coming out visiting my sister. But when I was 13, what I was telling you about the improv, I would come visit. I didn't know what anything was, but she would say, "Let's go to the improv." And I saw everybody perform. I saw Seinfeld, Leno, Keenan Ivory Wayans was the first person I saw on stage. I saw Arsenio. I saw Eddie Murphy. I saw Robin Williams when there would be 4 people in this. I mean, every single person. And I was just a kid.
What year was that?
This is 83.
So it was all happening. That was the middle of the boom, kind of.
Yeah, and so it was like a unique thing, like Eddie Murphy. I mean, everybody would come to the improv. It was like the spot. It wasn't 15 comedy clubs like they were in Los Angeles.
No, it was it. There was only 2.
It was
Comedy Store and the Improv.
And it was like sort of like, church and state. It was like you're either a Comedy Store guy or an improv guy.
Yeah.
And I was improv. I was like, in my head, I was like, fuck the Comedy Store. Like, I hang out at the improv. I'm 13 years old. But, like...
And Claudia's older than you?
Claudia's older than me.
Yeah.
She will tell, for this sake, because she's probably going to listen to this, we'll say she's younger than me.
Okay. But she used to host there, too, after a while. I don't know when. She used to
host there, yeah.
Yeah, she used to do some comedy.
Yeah.
I remember her. I mean, I know her. I've hung out with her before.
Did you fuck my sister,
I
Mark?
did not fuck his sister.
Right.
I did not fuck his sister.
Okay. But, it was just an exciting time, and it exposed me. At the time, I had dreams of being in the NBA. I wanted to be a basketball player.
You're a tall guy.
Tall guy.
Could you play?
In my head.
Yeah.
My head was a lot of things going on.
But you never wanted to rap?
Never wanted to rap. I was just a fan. Never wanted to rap. Never wanted to be an actor. Never wanted to be a comedian. Like, I was going to be in the NBA.
At 13. But you liked comedy.
I loved it, but I didn't know what it was. But
so you met Bud and everybody?
I mean,
of course.
Everybody.
Because I remember, after Zebrahead.
That was 89 now.
Right, but I know. But I just remember walking into the improv and you were, holding court.
Yeah.
I mean,
and also, I had been there. I'd been hanging out there.
Since you were 13.
Since I was 13. But at 89, it was like, you fucking...
Not quite, but yeah.
But you weren't around there yet?
No, I wasn't. They never really put me on that much. One time I went on around probably 92 or something.
I was there.
And Mark was there.
Yep.
And I was a very angry guy at that time, very angry comic, and I did my shit. And it was uncomfortable. And I walk off, and Mark's standing there by the door going out to the hallway. And he looks at me and goes, very uplifting.
And that's saying something coming from him.
He was mocking me.
Right.
But he's all right.
Yeah.
So, all right, so you're 13 and you're going back and forth.
I'm going back and forth. I'm getting kicked out of New York City public schools and private schools.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Why? You a criminal?
I wasn't. I was so the only thing that I was disruptive.
Yeah,
I was so disruptive that I got kicked out of PS 158, which is a public school in the 3rd grade in the 70s. So you got to be. I think back now, to get kicked out of a public school in the 1970s, it's in New York City. You got to be such a fucking pain in the ass. There was no fire starting. There was no violence.
Right.
There was no anything. It's
just old school smart ass.
Just an old, on steroids. I was like a fucking pain in the ass. I have no memory of it.
Right.
But I just think back, how do you get kicked out of the school in the 3rd grade? That's an accomplishment.
Right, sure.
So
you put that on your resume.
Exactly. And then it was just I went to one school to the next school, and then my father tried me a private school, and that was a waste of money. He said,
Where'd you go?
I went to...
Since you had a state or not?
No, he sent me in school. I went to McBurney. I went to a school called Robert Louis Stevenson, which was for middle class kids. It was basically a high end place to send your kids that are on the path to nowhere.
Yeah.
But it was New York, and it was time. But the one thing that did keep me focused is that I was going to be in the NBA.
Yeah.
So there was no drinking. I didn't care about girls. I didn't care about anything. I just played ball, stayed out of trouble, talked a lot of shit. I loved. I
like the idea of a school for kids who are on their way to nowhere.
They still have them.
I know.
They have private schools where they're they're going to get you out of high school,
right?
And the parents have money, and they're going to pay for you to do whatever the fuck you want. They liberal learning, different ways of learning. You'll get.
Hopefully, you'll work out somehow.
If you get kicked out of those schools, you're a piece of shit. Because they're being paid a lot of money to keep you, so the threshold is high.
Jail's the next step.
jail or like, rehab or like forest programs or stuff like that. Like, wilderness
Like,
shit.
Here's your gear.
Right.
Hit the mountain.
Exactly. Because if you get kicked out of that shit, and it's always, more privileged kids than not. So, my family, so anyway, I wound up getting kicked out of one of those schools. So that was in the 8th grade. In the 9th grade, my father sent me back to Wagner Junior High School, public school. And then 10th grade, I tried to live with my sister. I went to Fairfax.
Oh, out here?
For a year, I was in 10th, but I just missed New York and missed my friends too much. And then I went to Erasmus Hall High School in Brooklyn. And that school that year was voted in the Daily News in New York City, the worst public school in New York City.
Yeah.
Which means a lot.
Yeah.
Because, it was like a fucking riot zone.
Did you
literally
get kicked out of there?
They asked me not to come back. They didn't kick me out, but they said,
What the fuck were you doing?
I just was a motherfucker. And then at this point, I thought I was hot shit. I had a bunch of wild, restless, thug friends.
Yeah.
I was the only white kid in the entire school. And this is a rough school. And it wasn't like, well, you must be a tough guy. Like, I just had a lot of friends. And, everybody had their thing. Like, some dudes could fight. Some dudes could play ball. I could talk shit. Like, I could snap. I could talk shit. So I could play ball. I was just, I know how to use my mouth. That was my weapon. Like,
and you never got arrested?
I got arrested once in 1989 for some loitering bullshit. Nothing to be proud of.
Loitering?
Loitering in a mall and, and then it was just it was like a quick arrest. It was like I got arrested because the reason why they
Out
actually,
here?
In Virginia. It's nothing good. And then actually, but nothing. I got a couple of little small things like that, but nothing like, worth mentioning. Like no stories.
No story behind getting arrested in Virginia?
It was literally loitering. And I think the only reason why they arrested me because I didn't have ID. And
what were you doing in Virginia?
Visiting my friends that were quote unquote going to college down here.
No.
Mingling in small time.
Yeah.
Drug dealing?
Yeah.
Small time?
Yeah.
Doing dumb shit.
Yeah.
Doing dumb shit that Disco Dave's son and June Brody's son shouldn't be doing.
Right.
Doing dumb shit.
Yeah.
Doing really stupid shit that when I think about this little period of time, I shudder of what could have wound up happening to me.
So did you somehow get scared straight or you just fucking found show business?
You know what? If you see my left ear, Mark?
Yeah.
See my ear?
Yeah. I
got into a fight with like a street fight and with a bunch of dudes that were really bout it and got my ear bit off. And if you see like the shape of my ear,
yeah.
Like and at this point I knew I wasn't going to the NBA. No college scholarships had come in like I had dreamed and practiced for hours and hours.
For the guy who got kicked out of school every year, there was no college scholarship.
No, for the 6'2" Jewish kid from the Upper East Side of Manhattan, strangely
smart ass big mouth motherfucker
who averaged 11 points. That was his high. No colleges came knocking down my door. I don't know why to this day. I feel like a lot of the Big East schools missed out. But that incident, I called my father. I was like, Dad, I've been in the hospital for the last day. And I got my, I told him, and he was like, listen to me. And he said to me, this is a true story. He said to me, I'm afraid the next time you call me, somebody's going to tell me you got a bullet in you.
Yeah.
And I remember, I don't have a great memory, but I distinctly remember like a shiver going through me. And I was like, that really, like in my head, that could happen.
Right.
And then I actually came back to Los Angeles, and got an apartment for $325.
What was it? So how old were you when the fight happened?
19.
Yeah.
And then I came to Los Angeles.
And you were just hanging out with some bad guys and the shit went down?
Like, I mean, like real rough dudes. Like real rough dudes.
But were those the dudes you were hanging with regular at that time?
Oh, yeah. I was hanging with rough guys.
Yeah.
And I was taken care of and protected. But, like, I was hanging, like my friends were, like, all from the Brownsville section of Brooklyn, which is the ungentrifiable section of Brooklyn, and Harlem, and they were street dudes. Like, and I, fancied myself a street dude, but I was not, but I was around them.
Yeah.
And it would literally started over some, like, what are you looking at shit? And the next thing you know, we're like in a 4-on-3 street fight, and people are throwing rocks and throwing punches, and I was actually getting the better of this dude, and he bit my ear. And at this point, I had a looming thought that I would be a stand-up comic. And while he was biting my ear, I said to him, "You're biting my fucking ear. I swear to God." And as I pulled away from him, I touched my ear and I couldn't feel it because it went numb. But no bullshit. The first thing that popped in my head was, "You can't be a stand-up comic with one ear." Like, that's no bullshit. Like, I was like, how am I going to be a stand-up comic?
I thought you were going to say, like, I'm going to get 10 minutes of material.
No. Like, I had never even tried it at this point.
Right.
So then,
I'm going to be the one-ear guy.
I should have went with that. See, that's why I wasn't a good stand-up. I had
you got most of your ear. Did they have to put it back on?
Well, I got a skin graft.
Oh, all right.
So anyway, that kind of woke me up. And
that thing your dad said. Like, if you know it and you feel it, and you know he says something like that, and you realize, you look at your life and where it is, and it lands, that's terrifying.
And it was great. Luckily, it didn't go any further because I had no business doing the shit that I was doing. And I was, and I just was. I was young, man. I was so fucking dumb. Like, when you're 19, it's the dumbest part of my life, yet the time that I thought I was the smartest in my life. Like, now I know how dumb I am.
Yeah.
And I know, like, what my parameters are. But at the time, I thought I knew everything.
Yeah.
And I was untouchable. And I was dumb as shit. And it wasn't tough. And I was just dumb.
Isn't it weird, though? You have kids now?
2 sons, yeah.
You have 2 sons.
15 and 13.
Really?
Yeah.
Already? When did that happen?
When I was 30. Do the math, Mark. Come
on,
man.
I'm with you.
I know it's crazy, though, right?
Yeah, because, like, I don't know. I don't. You're one of those guys I think I know, but I don't know. I know you from movies.
No, I'm just playing.
But like, when I look back on it, or I even see young people doing comedy now, and they're saying all this shit, and there's part of me that's like, that's not gonna happen.
Right.
What are you thinking?
Right.
But when you're in it, even if an old guy says to you, like, what the fuck are you doing? You're stupid. You're like, right. What do you know?
Exactly.
And now you're old guy, and you're like, nah, yeah.
I know. And now I have teenage sons.
How they doing?
They're doing good. Like, they're ahead of me. They're doing well.
In what way?
In terms of where they are in their lives.
Good students and whatnot.
They're good students. They're getting there. I mean, they have the Rapaport name and they're boys, so I have sort of a genetic disposition to be a fuck up. But in general, they're good kids, and they haven't gotten kicked out of school yet.
Yeah.
So let's just they're sweet kids, and they're good. They're good boys.
So you move out here, you get an apartment for $300.
$325.
Yeah.
The 25 changes the game. So if you say 300, it was 325. It's 1989.
So it's okay, 325.
It wasn't 375. I don't think I could have afforded.
Where is that?
It was actually it was one of these apartments that's sort of talked about by comics. It was like this. It was on Carlton Way in Hollywood, and a lot of other comics lived there, like J. Anthony Brown, Jimmy Woodard.
I remember Jimmy Woodard.
Yeah,
what happened to that guy?
Jimmy's, I think, still around doing his thing. But it was like the comic place. I started doing my little stand up, and I was able to pay the rent.
And you're 20?
I'm 19.
Yeah, so you're doing mostly at the Improv.
Well, at that point, actually, I didn't start doing stand up. Like, I didn't make any money in for about a year. I mean, we're talking like $25, $50.
Were you working another job?
Yeah, I was a messenger.
Yeah,
a driving messenger.
Yeah,
and which was actually fun because it helped me learn the city because I didn't know how to drive.
Had you Thomas Guide?
Thomas Guide.
Yeah,
and I would deliver scripts to like actors and agencies. As a fucking messenger, you'd have like packages.
Did you meet some guys?
I remember that I delivered a script to the guy from Dukes of Hazzard, and he came out, and I was like, oh shit, that's the dude from Dukes of Hazzard. But like at the time, like I was like, he came out and got like the package. I think it was a script, but that was like a big deal. Like, yo, that's the dude from Dukes. Not that I gave a fuck about Dukes of Hazzard, but I went to his, and I was like in my head, I was like, yo, I know where the guy from Dukes of Hazzard lived.
Right.
The blonde-headed dude, Schneider, I think his name is John Schneider. Maybe I don't know.
Did some singing too, I think that guy.
Yeah. And so, I would see people, but I wasn't impressed. Like I wasn't. Whatever. The job was good, but I kept that messenger job for about a year and a half.
And you had family out here, and you got along with Mark. You could eat at the Improv if you wanted.
I could eat at the Improv.
Yeah.
And the cost of living was just so cheap then.
Yeah.
And my apartment's $325.
Right?
It's a fucking shithole. And my mother gave me a used car.
Yeah.
And I was off and running, and at this point I was going to be the next Eddie Murphy. In my head, I was going to be Eddie Murphy.
Yeah.
That's like what I was going to be, but I had no sort of plan or how to get there, and I was not a great stand-up comedian. Nor did I understand what it takes to become a great stand-up comedian. And then after about a year and a half of doing stand-up, I would go on late or real early.
Right.
Like I was never prime time.
Yeah, of course.
A casting agent saw me doing stand-up, and they were casting the movie Zebrahead, and they were like, yo, you want to come in and audition for this movie? and at the time, like that's like I was like Zebrahead was like it was like perfect time. It was the perfect storm. Like it was like the perfect part at the perfect time. And when I read the script, I was like, I'm going to get this part. Like I knew in my head.
Your life.
It was like my life. It was a softer version of my life.
Yeah.
But like I related to the whole culture, the music, the sort of outsider aspect of it all, and the interracial. And at the time, like I was like, I flew myself to New York. I auditioned, and it was a small movie. You know, it wasn't like a big movie, and I auditioned, and I was like, in my head, I was like, there's no way I'm not getting this part.
Well, and you did, right?
And I got the part.
And and you added more than the movie. You got sort of notice.
Yeah. And then I was an actor, and then I was like, I'm not doing stand up anymore. I'm an actor. I quit because and then I remember like Adam Sandler and Ben Stiller and Sarah Silverman and Dave Schwab. I don't do this shit no more. Fuck stand-up comedy. And I quit. I'm an actor. And I made like $27,000 before taxes. But like, you're 21 years old.
That's big.
That's fucking huge.
And you think you're on your way.
I think I'm on my way.
And you were kind of.
I was and I bought a Honda Accord, and I was like, this is it. Like, and fortunately I started working. And,
like, I know you're still frugal. Like, I bought an Accord.
Yeah,
I'm a practical guy.
No, I was always good with money. I was always good with money until I got divorced. But that's a whole other fucking subject.
I know that one.
You know that one, right?
Yeah, I do, yeah.
Yeah.
What, from the mother of your kids?
I got divorced once, and that's all I'm saying. I'm not saying anything.
It's over, though?
There's the kids are still alive, and there's child. There's still.
Yeah, you got to deal with it.
There's still bills to be paid.
Yeah, I get you.
Were you divorced?
I was, but I got no kids. I was divorced twice.
Oh, shit.
The second one hurt because I had some money.
Fuck.
It hurts when you got money. But I imagine if you have kids, it's a whole other ballpark.
Well, you know what? I don't understand, because you seem like you're a smart dude. And also, I need to ask you, was the president sitting right where I'm sitting?
Yeah, right there.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Right where I'm sitting.
Right
he was sitting in here.
Yeah.
When he walked in, was he like, this is a fucking hovel? Like, has he been in a place like this since he's been president?
What he said exactly was, a lot of pictures of you around here, sort of narcissistic, isn't it, Mark? So he took a shot at me right out of the gate.
And were you like, oh, shit, this isn't going well?
No. He was making a joke. I did, and he was very relaxed. You listened to it. It's very relaxed.
I've heard it.
Yeah.
Were you tripping out like when he?
Yeah, dude. I mean, I had fucking Secret Service all over the place. There was LAPD here. They tented my driveway. We're waiting. We see his helicopters coming over. I mean, he's a fucking president. It's not a casual event. Got 5 people on headsets out there. It was nuts. Gets out of the motorcade, comes up through that gate right where at the end of this.
The same gate that I walked through.
Right, and I'm standing in front. They told me to wait here for him. He walks in with all these people coming up the driveway, the staff and everything. I didn't even see him. And all of a sudden, out of the crowd, I see Mark, and there's Obama waving at me, and I'm like, Mr. President.
Did chills go through you?
Yes.
That's crazy. Chills went through me knowing that I was sitting in the same spot.
This is his cup. I put a little glass dome on his cup.
That's
he left
fucking
his to-go
cool.
cup.
That's
fucking
cool,
dude.
Like, did you sage the place, or like? Because I'm not saying any disrespectful way, Mark, but it's got a lived-in smell, and not bad, not good.
A little musky.
It's got a lived-in smell. But I mean, this is where it all happened.
Yeah, they swept it. They took all.
They swept it in here.
Yeah, they took things that looked dangerous off the desk here, like that hammer and the knife.
Did you ever, in all of your podcasting, ever imagine that? As good and as revered as you are, and so much of a staple and sort of like a monumental pillar of podcasting. Did you ever even think, that would even be remotely something that could happen? Like you'd be interviewing the president of the United States?
It was crazy. I mean, I had done political talk radio years ago,
right.
But like even then, to get a president, it just never happened. And I never set out to get him. I don't even do politics anymore. And I'm like, what the hell? But I had no idea. And then people are like, well, how are you going to follow that? I don't know. I got Rich Voss on.
Michael Rappaport's coming on.
But what else are you going to do?
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't want to interview candidates. It was an amazing event. I was thrilled that, he thought this would be a good outlet for him to talk to people about himself, which he did. And from everything I've heard, there was not much backlash, negative from either side.
Why should there be? It was a great interview.
Well, because there's assholes on both sides that they don't shut up.
Right.
And there's always a fucking problem. But a lot of people are like, I forgot how much I like that guy.
Right.
They're like, yeah, now I know why you're voting for him. Why can't he
Right.
stay there?
Right.
And then there were people that were like, never liked him, but that was great.
Right.
Yeah, so it worked out.
Did you find yourself like when you were looking at him? Was it surreal and like were you like ever thrown or like were you like going through like? And did you ever sort of like feel totally relaxed, or were you always sort of like on cloud nine of it? Like probably right now that you're interviewing me, there's probably a nervous excitement, right? Of course,
yeah, just
right?
like when Obama was here.
That's what I'm saying. So did it ever go away? Like I feel like you've relaxed into the regular Marc Maron, but with Obama, did it ever go away?
Well, I was pretty open, pretty kind of vulnerable and nervous, but I also knew that I wanted to do what I do. So I wore my plaid shirt,
right?
But I prepared more than I would otherwise
Right.
because I had a tight hour,
right?
And there was some things we had to cover, and there was other things I wanted to get to. I wanted to frame it so he didn't get lost in politics or it didn't get too wonky.
Right.
And we stay. I wanted him to connect with me,
right?
So that happened pretty quickly. Like he disarmed me pretty quickly, made some jokes, and very quickly he's sitting there, and I'm like, I see a guy there. There's a guy there,
right?
And he was connected.
That's
he was
what
attentive.
I felt like I heard. Like I felt like I heard the guy.
Yeah, and that happened. So once that started happening,
cool.
I mean, if you listen to it, like 10 minutes in, I'm calling him man, and and I'm finishing his sentences. So there was a comfort there, and he's very adaptable in that way. But I really felt like he was present,
right.
And it was a guy. And pretty quickly, I stopped thinking about everything that was going on outside.
You were able to like zero in.
Right, because I had questions, and I don't usually.
Right.
And I couldn't just fly by the seat of my pants on that one, or else, I risk having an incomplete interview. And I think I covered everything I wanted to cover.
Nah,
really.
it was good. It was good. Like so now that you did Obama, interviewed Obama. Like who is like the top 3 people aside from this? You could check me off.
Yeah.
Who's the top 3 people that you would want to get to now?
Well, there's a lot of people even in show business.
But if you could pick 3, like if you were like these would be the 3 of your favorites.
Yeah, Albert Brooks would be great.
Oh, that would be cool.
Right. There's part I want to talk to Lily Tomlin about the old days.
Okay.
I think it'd be pretty exciting to talk to like, Coppola, right?
Of course.
I don't know, man. There's always people that like I talked to Bill Friedkin the other day.
Yep.
And like in my mind, like sometimes because I've run through my Rolodex,
right? So
now we get pitched people, and like someone like Friedkin, of course I want to fucking talk to Bill Friedkin,
right?
Directed The French Connection,
right?
He was here for 3 fucking hours.
That's crazy.
So, like, if I'm interested, it doesn't matter where they come from.
Right.
Politicians, I'm not so interested in.
Right, I hear you.
Yeah.
Of course, Trump would be fun, right?
I guess, but he would just steamroll me. What are you going to do with that guy? I mean, like, he's going to blow through me. Like, people say that.
Does he blow through, or is he just, he's talking bullshit, right?
Well, yeah, he is a shit talker.
I listen to him, and I'm like, I feel like I could be the president.
Right.
If this motherfucker's taking it that far, like, he doesn't know shit. I don't know shit. He just talks some fucking random greasy shit.
Yeah.
And he's just, like, I'm like, yo, I could do this. Like, that's the thing that I think is almost good about him running.
Yeah.
This motherfucker makes it feel like anybody could be president. Like, this motherfucker doesn't know anything more or less than I do. He has no, like, I've never heard somebody double talk so well.
Right.
Like, he's just, like, doesn't answer the questions and, like.
Yeah, he works the room.
He works the room, and he makes bullshitting attainable.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's good or bad in politics, but I'm like, I'm going to run for something. Like, I would be I seriously feel like I could be the mayor of New York.
Yeah.
If this fucking guy could run for president, I could at least be the mayor of New York.
Schwarzenegger was the fucking governor of California. Reagan was the fucking president. I mean, actors have done... You know what I mean? It's possible.
It's possible.
But yeah, no, but I don't know what I do with him. Because here's the problem, and even with Obama, but not so much when I talk to him, is that they have an agenda. And if they have an agenda, everybody sort of has an agenda.
Right.
So that agenda, like you said, the ability to deflect questions and deflect conversation to sort of service what you want to talk about anyways is annoying. So, I knew, with Obama, they didn't tell me, they didn't give us questions. They gave us final edit. They knew he's a pro.
Right.
So, anything that guy.
You're not going to trip up Obama.
That's right. So anything they don't want to answer, they're just going to be like, well, that's a good question. I'm going to talk about something else.
They're going to take you down a fucking lake.
Yeah, that's right.
You're going to be down a lake, and then by the time you realize you're at that lake, you're going to be too far to hike up. You're going to be and you're going to be on a pond somewhere.
Right. Yeah. So I don't really want to deal with the campaign. What were you saying though? We were talking about divorce. You said I'm a smart guy. I've been married twice.
Oh, I don't know. We were talking about divorce, child support.
But yeah, I told you.
No, the reason I was going to ask you, Coach, so you don't have kids, because child child support.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say or not say whether I deal with this, but just in general.
Yeah.
And you would think, what does a random person bringing up child support? He's probably dealing with it, but I'm not gonna say either way. But child support, I just want to throw this out there. See, but you don't know this, but I figured you were probably smarter than me. Is a motherfucker.
Yeah.
Because with child support, you get forced to pay a certain amount of money each month, and there's no proof of receipt on where that fucking money is going.
Right.
And I thought, because I like your point of views on things, if you had experienced that, you could really break that down.
Yeah.
Because it's a motherfucker. And as far as, like, I don't know if it's state by state or a national thing, but, like, I feel like the Second Amendment and the child support laws don't change. Those are the only fucking two things that change. Like, iPods improve, cars improve, but those motherfucking things, child support.
But I think your issue is...
and this has nothing to do with me. It's a cousin, a friend of mine.
All right, so your friend, I think the issue he's dealing with is the basic sort of like, what's she doing with the fucking money?
Why is there no proof of purchase? Where's that fucking money going? Again, this has nothing to do with me.
I understand, but
I just heard a guy talking in the coffee shop down the street.
I know, I'm with you on that, and I feel bad for that guy.
Yeah, me too. I don't even know his name.
But the truth of the matter is like, I guess you could ask the kid, where's the new shoes that your mother said that she got?
You fucking your pants look too small, and you look thin. You don't seem like you're eating good.
I don't understand that. I sent her money.
Where's the fucking money going?
I understand.
And why don't you have like a 7-foot Christmas tree? You got that bullshit Christmas tree.
And why is she driving a new car?
I mean, and then not my
not
kid.
Me, the other kid, the guy at the coffee shop.
Yeah. Right.
No, I know. Like I guess I dodged that bullet. But all of that shit, as soon as lawyers are involved, it's a no-win game for anybody.
It's fucked up.
Yeah,
and those no good fucking judges, they truly do judge you.
Yeah,
they judge you.
Their job.
Yeah, I know. But until you're actually judged by a real judge, you've never been judged. Like it's so like you can be like, well, that girl judged me, my boss judged me.
Yeah.
No, until you're in there with that no good judge, and he's really and he's seen it all.
Yeah, all of it.
Like there's not like all your fucking like rhetoric,
all your bullshit.
It means nothing to this guy.
Talk a judge.
A judge?
Because they're like, all right, that's fine, but let's talk about the issue at hand.
And he's gonna do it in 3 to 5 seconds, and you're not gonna know what the fuck happened to you until you're at the fucking bank pulling out money. And you might as well just be in Vegas, just gambling it away, because it's going nowhere.
Yeah, to the lawyer. Yeah, there's more paperwork.
Those fucking no good lawyers too.
I know. You know what got me is the disclosure process.
Right.
That killed me. Like I was like, I don't have kids, but I'm like, I'm right. I have a just fucking fight here. And then they have you we need all of your phone bills for 20 years, whatever the fuck it is. I've never been more organized in my life. I was at Kinko's 3 hours a day, putting shit together for her dumb lawyer, not realizing that it's a fucking shakedown.
It's a fucking shakedown. And then you're at Kinko's for 3 hours, yet your court session's like 36 seconds.
You don't even go. You get a piece of paper that says, that it was filed for $2,000.
It's motherfucker. Oh, you mean the lawyer bills?
Yeah.
That's that's what I don't understand. Those motherfucking lawyers.
Yeah.
Those divorce, that's a show.
On both sides.
They're fucking scumbags. The more you argue, the happier they are.
Exactly. They just want to keep going.
Yeah, and your lawyer is acting like your therapist, but he's really just going ka-ching,
yeah,
ka-ching.
Oh, sure. I guess we can try that. That sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, no, fuck her. I don't like her. And then, well, what do you think of her lawyer? And he's, we're going to game plan. It's like he thinks he's fucking Bill Belichick, and it's the Super. No, it's just a bunch. It's a fucking racket.
Then after that, they go home and they call the other lawyer, like, how you doing? I'm good.
They're probably fucking each other, the two lawyers.
Somehow. Shake that. But that's the operative word for me with all that stuff, is that really does become a shakedown. And the only way it ends is when the guy with the money goes, all right, I'm done. I've
had enough. I submit. You put me in the figure 4. I got it. You win. I can't take it anymore.
Exactly. And then all that money you spent being righteous. It's like, why the fuck? Because any motherfucker, I'll tell you this right now, any guy who's been through it before will tell you right to your face, pay her. Just give her what the fuck she wants.
Off the top.
Just pay her.
Because when those, what is it, ESQs? What's the thing for a lawyer?
Esquires.
When they get involved, that's when the fucking party's over.
Yeah.
And then you think you're like in some sort of fight, but it ain't the Thriller in Manila.
No.
It ain't Pacquiao versus Mayweather. It ain't Rousey versus the other girl.
No.
It's a fucking slaughter.
It's fixed, and the guy with the money's going to lose.
Yeah, Don King's coming in for the fucking fix.
Yeah.
So anyway,
but you're all right, though.
I'm all right. I can't
kids
complain.
all right.
The kids are good.
Good. So, all right. So now, going back to your story, so Zebrahead, so you're launched.
I'm launched.
You got an agent, big agency.
I got a manager.
You're going out. Well, I don't think people realize. I don't think I realized until I looked at the filmography. I mean, you've been in like a fucking 100 movies.
Yeah, I mean,
one way or the other.
Yeah, good, bad, and indifferent. But yeah, I've worked nonstop since 1991, man, and I've had the fortune of doing a lot of, great movies with a lot of great people and work with a lot of great directors and. And I've learned a tremendous amount. And
like the fifth movie you did was True Romance,
that
which
was
is
big.
Everyone loves that movie. I watched it recently. I got it on Blu-ray. You're great in that movie.
Thank you. It's a good movie.
It's a sweet part.
It's a sweet part. That's really who I was at the time. Like I was like an actor who wanted a break, and that's why I got the part because they were casting that film, and it was actually, that was at the time. When scripts were scripts, they weren't sent, they weren't emailed, so you'd get them. And the word around town was big about the True Romance script for the actors, and Quentin Tarantino had just done Reservoir Dogs, and then around this time, Natural Born Killers had come out, which he wrote. Yeah. He's hot, and it's exciting. And so this True Romance script that he's directing is being passed around, and all my actor friends were auditioning for one part or another, and we started hearing, oh well, Christopher Walken's going to play the mobster. Oh shit, the mobster, and they're like, well, Christian Slater and Patricia Arquette, who had just come off a really good part in The Indian Runner, they're going to play. Oh, that's cool, and then Dennis Hopper's going to play. Oh shit, so Dennis Hopper and Christopher Walken are going to be doing that scene. Yeah, that fucking 8-page scene. And so there was this anticipation, and I had auditioned for a mobster part.
Yeah,
and
Gandolfini's part.
No, just a small part.
Yeah,
a small part. I'll actually say which part it was because I never like to sort of discredit. But it was a part that my friend and actor friend Kevin Corrigan.
Yeah, yeah.
So that he wound up playing. So I had auditioned for that part, and I was in the loop for that. And I was like, I
interviewed him.
He's a good dude.
Yeah, great guy.
And me and Kevin have worked with each other a lot. Like he was in my first movie, Zebrahead, and Kevin had already he'd done Goodfellas, he had done Men Don't Leave, and I was like, yo, that's Kevin. I knew who he was.
Yeah.
And he just like working on a film with Kevin was kind of like the first time when Zebrahead was the first actor I saw act the way I wanted to act.
Yeah.
Like he exploded. He had a small part in Zebrahead, but he exploded at me. When cameras were rolling, and I was like, yo, this guy's like Al Pacino.
Yeah.
And I was like, I want to do that. And then we had pizza, and we became friends, and the rest is, friendship history. But the casting director, who was Mary Vernew, she was the casting assistant while they were trying to cast Dick Ritchie.
Yeah.
She told my agent, yo, that guy, Michael Rapaport guy, should come in and read. Like, he's like that. So I went in and read on a Saturday with the great Tony Scott, and I remember behind me was all the photos of who the people were going to be in the movie.
Yeah.
So it was, like I'm looking up there, and they were like Xerox copies of Christian Slater, Patricia Arquette, Val Kilmer, Samuel Jackson, James Gandolfini, who was nobody at the time.
Yeah.
And so on and so on. And I'm like, and I told Tony Scott, who passed away, I said, please don't let me leave here until I get this part.
Yeah.
And he said, all right, mate, I'll, we'll try. And I just read and read and read. But like, I think just like that earnestness was really made sense.
Well, you probably had to peel back. It's a pretty vulnerable part.
Yeah, it's who I was.
Sweet kid almost.
Sweet kid who just wanted his big break. And
right. You're so naturally filled with bluster. I imagine Tony was like, all right, turn it down.
Yeah.
Tone it down a little.
Well, at the time, I don't know what the fuck was going through my head, but I knew like somehow like this was for me.
Yeah.
And there's been certain moments in my career, like Zebrahead was the first one, and True Romance was the second one. I was like, this is for me. This is my part.
Right.
And I got it. And doing that film was like, I would show up on set when I wasn't in the movie because you know,
you got it.
I was on set when they did the Christopher Walken, Dennis Hopper scene, and
right.
James Gandolfini. He was just a guy like me. We were like, I can't fucking believe this. And Gary Oldman was like, I remember being in the makeup trailer, and Gary Oldman was over there doing like a hair test because he was, and I was like, what the fuck? They were actually considering me for that part at one point.
Wow, that's a big part. That's a heavy part, right?
So, it was just a privilege to be in it, and Tony Scott was so welcoming with all my thoughts and ideas, and I was going to be Marlon Brando, and I have these ideas, and I'm going to create. And some of the things he would say, no, 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 and some of the things he would say, yeah, 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 try it. But he never told me to shut the fuck up.
Right, and then, but before that, Poetic Justice, that was a pretty big movie, right? Was that Janet Jackson?
Tupac.
Yeah, yeah.
And I just had a little part in it, but I wanted to be in it because I loved Tupac, and I knew how special he was, like a lot of other people. Like, you knew you were around somebody who was special. And then, like, I was just to go to the cast reading and the rap party, like, fucking Janet Jackson was there. And this is when Janet Jackson was, like, Janet Jackson.
Yeah. And
Tupac was there, and Regina King, who...
these are your heroes.
I'm like, yo, and John Singleton, who had just done Boys in the Hood. I'm like, yo,
Great.
This is... You know, I'm 25 years old, so I remember just, like, I don't care how big the part is. It was with Tupac. I went to the fucking cast read-through, and I went to the rap party. And I remember the rap party, like Janet Jackson was like, oh, I saw True Romance. I love that. And I was like, this is fucking crazy here. This is crazy. And Tupac, and I got a Polaroid with Tupac.
You still got it?
I still got it.
That's sweet, man.
Yeah, so...
Singleton's great. I think that movie, Baby Boy, is a fucking masterpiece.
Me too.
I love that fucking movie.
Really
Boys in the Hood's good too, yeah.
He's discovered so many great actors.
Yeah, I love his work. I'd like to talk. He's another guy. See, we bring it up. I'd like to talk to that guy.
I can connect you with him, and he's a good dude, easy, good dude, like low key, loves movies, loves talking, loves actors, loves film.
Oh wow!
And just a good, the same dude he's always been. Like a good dude.
Oh, well,
really smart. He's like a fucking encyclopedia. He's like one of these encyclopedias.
Film nerd.
Of course.
Yeah, yeah.
He's a nerd. I'll tell him this to his face. I love John. He's a nerd who's also a film nerd.
Oh, I'd love to fucking talk to that guy.
He's good people.
All right, so you do that. So you do True Romance. And there's a lot of movies here that I haven't seen.
Some of them aren't that good, Mark. Some of them aren't worth seeing. Some of them might be good, but listen, you don't never know.
You'll take the gig.
I'll take the fucking gig, and you go into it thinking everything's going to be Gone with the Wind. They ain't Gone with the Wind. Kiss Toledo Goodbye up there.
Yeah.
That's one of the things you've never seen. Don't fucking see it. It's a piece of shit. Great cast, but it was with Christine Taylor, Christopher Walken, a lot of piece of shit. Why, you never know.
But you're one of those guys that's going to represent himself no matter what. There's a baseline to your personality that's not going to go away. You're not going to disappear. So anything you're in, you're like, that's Michael Rapaport doing some variation of that guy.
I'm not. Listen, when you're just an actor,
character actor, right?
Yeah, but when you're just an actor, you're solely responsible. And you could drive yourself crazy, and this is where I think actors get a bad rap, because especially the more and more successful you get and the more pressure. But when you're just an actor, like, the only thing you can control is your performance. And even that, at the end of the day, a director and editor have the final say in it.
Right.
But I could see, like, why stars, you hear about, like, stars fighting with studios or stars fighting with directors.
Yeah.
Like, your fucking ass is on the line. And your pedigree and your ability to continue to star in movies is on the line. And the business of show business, I could see how, like, Brando was the most famous for sort of despising it outwardly and openly first.
Right.
How it could drive you fucking nuts.
Yeah.
Because you become a commodity and then you can't even control what you're doing. So, but for me, like, I go into, especially when I was young, everything was, like, just earnest. Like, I was like, Kiss Toledo Goodbye, that piece of shit, amongst other things. And we went into it thinking it's going to be this great mobster comedy, and it didn't turn out that way. But at the time, you don't know.
But you were in, like, Higher Learning. That was a big movie.
Yep.
And Basketball Diaries. That was a good movie.
Basketball Diaries.
Working with Leonardo, right?
A little DiCaprio. He went on to bigger and better things. And greener.
He did all right.
He did all right for himself. The funny thing about Higher Learning is that he was actually going to be in Higher Learning. The original cast for Higher Learning was Leonardo DiCaprio, Tupac, Gwyneth Paltrow. And I was going to play a different part. And then for some fucking strange reason, DiCaprio decided to do some movie about a sinking ship. I don't know what the fuck he was thinking. I don't know what came of that thing.
What a mistake that was.
Some fucking piece of shit he wanted to do about a ship and James Cameron. And
some guys just make the wrong choices.
I don't know what the fuck he was thinking about, Mark. But anyway, so but yeah, I mean, Basketball Diaries.
And then you work with Woody?
Woody Allen. That was a big deal.
Of course it was a big deal. That was a big movie, an Oscar winner with, what's
Mira
her name?
Sorvino, Mighty Aphrodite.
Yeah.
And that was big for me. It was exciting.
Most of the people I talk to that work with him, he's pretty low key, right? He kind of counts on you to do what you do.
He counts on you to do. He doesn't count on you to do what you do. You know what he wants?
Yeah.
The first thing he wants is he doesn't want to talk about him being Woody Allen. That's number one.
Yeah.
Like, say he doesn't want any sort of fanboy shit about like what was it like when you did Manhattan. He doesn't want. He doesn't want to talk about himself. But I got him to talk very open and sort of regularly about basketball.
Yeah.
Fast food in New York. Chinese restaurants, and jazz music. Because I knew going into it, don't talk to him about don't ask
his
him.
movies.
He doesn't want to talk about that. But if you talk to him just regular and you're not like, extra giddy with him, he'll talk to you. But like as far as his process, like he writes a script, it's actor proof. The way he shoots things is very contained. He doesn't do a lot of coverage. Everything looks beautiful. He doesn't rehearse anything. So like we would have 5, 6, 7-page scenes. And he would be like, let's just shoot it and see what happens. And I'm talking about you don't run the lines.
Yeah.
Like he would kind of do this part over here, do this part over here, walk there, walk back, and then we'll see what happens. And a lot of times it just works.
Yeah.
But there's definitely a method to the madness and a method to the magic.
Yeah.
But he just sort of scales down all the bullshit.
Right.
And at the time I was like, what the fuck?
He's got complete control, and he's
complete
not
control.
Yeah, and that makes a big difference.
Great people, in the film. The writing, anyone could do a good performance in a Woody Allen film.
Right.
The writing itself is so good.
Yeah, no, there's been quite a few good ones. And then Copland, that was the next. That should have been a huge movie. I kind of like it. It's a weird ass movie.
Yeah,
did you get to work? Did you get to talk to Sly and everybody?
All of them.
Yeah,
all of them. And I was like a fucking kid in a candy store.
Yeah,
like I was. Ray Liotta, De Niro.
Yeah,
Sylvester Stallone, and Sylvester Stallone, like Rocky was the first movie I ever saw that moved me.
Yeah,
I was 6 when I saw it.
Yeah,
but somehow it got me on an emotional level. And then De Niro, and then Harvey Keitel, but to be on a set.
New York guys.
I couldn't fucking believe that. I couldn't believe.
Is Sly from New York or Philly?
Philly,
yeah.
But
Close.
He was like a fixture in my life, and De Niro was a fixture in my life. And the first day on the set of Copland, I'm on the set with Sylvester Stallone, Ray Liotta, Harvey Keitel, and fucking Robert De Niro in a movie. We're shooting downtown by One Police Plaza, and I'm just floating.
Yeah.
Floating through air, I can't believe that I've done this.
Yeah.
And I knew to keep my fan shit, this is before cell phones and all that stuff.
Right.
But I remember writing in my journal, in the thing, I can't believe I'm going on set. I'm about to do this scene with De Niro and Stallone, and it was just a great experience. And James Mangold directed it, and the film turned out good, and there was so much excitement and hype on it because it was going to be Sylvester Stallone's return, and I'm going to gain weight and all this stuff. And, it was just it was fun. Peter Berg was in it.
I know Berg.
Yeah. So
I lived with him briefly.
Did you really?
In Culver City when he was starting out, I was starting out.
That's
Steve
funny.
Brill. Steve Brill.
Oh, shit.
And Berg briefly lived with each other.
That's crazy.
And they pushed me out.
They got rid of you.
Yeah,
that's a crazy bunch right there.
Yeah. And we were kids. But so did you talk to De Niro? Were you able to sort of get a little...
We had a little exchanges. I knew better than to fucking, again, I don't have Tourette's, but I felt like I had a Raging Bull Tourette's.
Yeah.
I was just going to be Raging Bull,
yeah.
Taxi driver, Travis Bickle, casino, but I kept it under control. We had funny exchanges. He was very polite, I treated him like a professional. He treated me like a professional.
Right.
So when I was in front of him, I knew the best thing to do was to just bring it to him. Just be a pro and be as good as I could possibly be. Stallone was a different story. I was with Stallone, Rocky 1 through 6.
Yeah.
Every single line from every single movie. I would do Paulie lines.
Yeah.
He would do Rocky lines. I would do Rocky lines. He would do Adrian lines. I would do his lines. He would do other people's lines. He loved it.
Yeah.
He answered every single one of my Rocky fantasy questions.
Yeah.
Burgess Meredith questions. My Carl Weathers questions, my Stallone, every single fucking question.
Yeah.
To the point where James Mangold was like, do not talk to him. Don't fucking speak to him. This is Copland. This isn't Rocky 3. He's not talking about Clubber Lang. Don't talk to him on the set unless it's within the character. So he was cool and very generous and totally appreciated it and never annoyed and he was cool.
Did you become friends?
until the last day, and I haven't seen him since. I saw him at a basketball game 2 years later, and he looked at me like I was an usher. But he's and I get that now.
Did you see the new one?
Loved it.
I got to see it.
For Sylvester Stallone to get nominated for Best Supporting Actor for essentially Rocky 7, it's almost like, like it's a Rocky story within Rocky 7.
Yeah. But
he deserves it, and he was great in Creed. I loved Creed, and I was as cynical as anybody going into it. I had fucking tears coming down my face.
Sure.
It's great. Creed's great, and Michael B. Jordan is great. And the thing about Creed that it does is that it serves... it creates a new movie for all of us. It refers to the old stuff, and you get the old Rocky magic.
And also for your kids.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right, then let's get Bamboozled. You were great in that. That's a great movie.
Spike Lee.
I love that movie.
It's a good movie.
You know why I love that movie? Because he shot it on digital. I think
one of the first movies on digital.
Yeah, and I know but the way they produced the minstrel show as television, and they showed it with those colors in it, it was disturbing and beautiful. Like, that's what it would look like. And how different is that? It was powerful to me.
Yes.
Just specifically the way they shot those minstrel shows. It was fucking devastating.
Yeah, no, it was very, very...
Was that hard for you to go against character a little bit? Because you were kind of the asshole, the insensitive sort of.
Nah, I loved it. You know, like as an actor, like you love that shit. Like
and Spike was good to work with.
Spike is very similar to Woody. Like he's very much like he loves the actor to do his thing.
Yeah.
Very sort of he empowering and lets you do your thing. And because it was one of the first films on digital, I mean, I'm talking about digital, like it was small little cameras around the room.
Yeah.
We had cameras like we would do fucking 10-page scenes. There were long scenes. And we'd be done like that because I was like, did you get the coverage? He was like, yeah, there's a camera there. And I was like, oh, shit. It was like there
hidden
was
camera
surveillance cameras almost. And if you watch the film again, and it definitely deserves a second watching or a first watching, you'll see that like the way it was shot was very unique and exciting cast and a Spike Lee movie in New York. And, I'm proud of that movie. It's
and then
cool
you didn't. I didn't realize till now because this is how I do it. But you did two with Woody.
Two.
Yeah, that's fucking. That doesn't happen all the time.
No, I know. I got invited back. Now I'm concerned that I didn't get invited back for the third time. I'm like, did I fuck up? Did I step on his toes? But no, I'm sure I'll get a chance.
But there's so fucking many movies. What other ones other than the ones we talked about here really made a mark on you and who you work with and what happened?
I mean, Beautiful Girls is a movie people talk to me about. That's a good movie.
Yeah.
And then, and I directed a couple of docs recently. I directed a doc called Beach Rhymes in Life about the group of Tribe Called Quest.
Oh, that's right. That's pretty recent, right?
Yeah, and that was a big thing for me to do and to pull off. And you got the Gimme Shelter poster.
Yeah.
There. That's a film that I reference a lot making that film because Gimme Shelter to me is perfection.
Oh, yeah, it's the greatest.
Yeah, and I love that poster. But, that was a big deal because I had always wanted to direct something. And, I just kind of fell into doing the Tribe movie, and the success from that was cool, and just everything it took, and the challenge of it, and the frustration of it, and the work of it. But it won awards. It's fucking certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes, which you're like, yo, we're certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes.
That means something.
And so it's been a bunch of shit, and and I've been fortunate. To do what I do, and do good TV shit, and do, direct shit. And now I started doing, I got to tell you, you're one of my inspirations for doing my podcast, the I Am Rapaport podcast.
How often you do it?
Twice a week.
Oh, yeah. You got the model.
Yeah. And, and like, just even like, because I was going to call it the motherfucking I Am Rapaport podcast.
Right.
But, I didn't think that would be sellable.
No.
Not that even the I Am
Even WTF is a little bit of an obstacle.
Exactly. Exactly. But, like, I just, like being with you and doing this show with you means a lot to me because, as far as I'm concerned, I mean, this, podcasts are becoming so part of the culture now.
Yeah.
But you've been doing this shit for so long. But what I wanted to ask you is what made you start doing it when nobody was doing it?
Desperation.
Like, what do you mean?
My stand-up career was not happening. My acting career wasn't happening. The radio thing was over, and I didn't know what the fuck I was going to do.
Right.
And that's really what happened. All we committed to was 2 episodes a week, no matter what. New episodes. We drop them like clockwork and see what happens. At the beginning, it wasn't even an interview show. It was sort of a mishmash of things. The idea of WTF was really about a theme that we were going to have segments and stuff. And then it just sort of, once I moved out here, I set up in here. We were doing a third act occasionally. That was a comedy piece. And then that just started to go away, and it became what it became.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah, it was just persistence and sticking with it, and there was no way to make money at it for a couple of years. And then all of a sudden, it was just good cosmic timing for once in my life. I had a certain skill set that I didn't think I had.
Right.
I would never have thought that I'd be thought of as this interviewer or a good interviewer.
Right.
I still don't like the word interview. I like to have conversations.
Right.
And it just sort of grew. I happened to be there at the first wave of popularity of this thing.
Right. Well, that's cool,
and define my little nook of it.
Right.
And I'm happy that other people do it. I'm happy I helped define the medium for some people, or gave some people hope that they can succeed at it.
Yeah.
But it's like anything else. There's a lot of them out there now, and see what happens.
Yeah. Well, it's I mean, it's a good time, and honestly, like with all the bullshitting and shit talking and all that stuff that we're doing. Like I really respect, like what you've done, and I'm sure other people feel like you've inspired them, because you definitely inspired me, because you do make it a conversation, and you do it in layman's terms, which is something that I could definitely respond to, because when it gets too highfalutin, I'm like.
But it's also a personality driven thing, and you've got that in spades, for fuck's sake. So what's the angle of yours?
I just talk shit. We talk about,
you have guests, you have a sidekick.
I have
What's
guests.
the structure?
My sidekick is actually my best friend. I call him the Black Ed McMahon, but his name is Gerald Moody.
Yeah.
And, he's been my best friend. We've been friends since like 1982. And at first it was just me. And then I was like, I'm doing this podcast. Like, come when I'm recording one day. This was early when we were doing it. We've only been doing it a year.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm going to ask you some things, and you just do what you do. And he was totally comfortable. And then I was like, you got to do it with me. But we talk shit. We have fun. We do the sick fuck of the week, which is an award that is earned, not given. So you can't just be a sick fuck. You got to be a special kind of sick fuck.
Yeah.
One of the segments that people like a lot is famous white people with no lips, which is again, and then Charlie Sheen actually inspired me to give. He was a double winner, because he was the first person to win the sick fuck of the week and a famous white person with no lips. So like, I like to have fun, talk about music, sports, and just enjoy. I like interviewing, but only if it's somebody that I really, I'm curious and excited about.
Yeah. So you mix it up. You got
mix it up.
Comedy segments and some themes.
Exactly.
And how's it going?
It's going good, man.
People coming around?
People are coming around, and it's fun. And, for me, it's fun, and at times it's challenging, because, sometimes you're like, oh, shit, I got to record. And, But not like challenging, like I got to go like build a house with like.
No, but you still got to show up for it, and you don't want to, autopilot something that you're in charge of.
Exactly. Because, that's the thing that I like about it. It's like, I can't. Although I'll find a way to complain about anything, because that's what I do. Like I'll complain about the podcast that I'm doing, that I have total control over, because that's just what Jews do. We just tend to do that, especially abrasive, big mouth, Jews.
I got my own version of that.
Exactly. So, but I just love doing it, and people have loved doing it, and we're carving out our little niche, and I try to keep it honest. We don't fact check anything.
Yeah.
That's one of the things I pride myself.
That'll get listeners excited.
Oh yeah, it's the only non-fact checking podcast.
Get a lot of emails that way.
A lot of emails that way, and there's really no accountability because it's a non-fact checking podcast.
Sure, and then people are just like, you fucking idiot.
Right.
And then you get to read that on the air.
Exactly. And I didn't know that to begin with, but I was like, I didn't want to do it in front of a computer, because when you first do a podcast, like you were probably like, you're talking into a mic alone.
Yeah.
Which is like a crazy person.
Hard to master that. Well, it's an amazing skill is what it is. I mean, if you think about radio broadcasters who do that for hours, I mean, it's a fucking skill. And once you learn how to do that, I remember the moment where I'm like, I can own a mic on my own for a couple hours if I have to.
Right, if you have to.
Right, on radio.
Right.
And that day was sort of like, all right, it's like an amazing skill set to have.
It's liberating.
It is.
It's liberating. So that's one of the things when I say fun and challenging.
Yeah.
Like finding that within me and trying to just make your point of view honest and genuine without being TMI.
Yeah.
Without telling too much.
I don't mind too much.
I mean, but
yeah,
you could be like
style.
too much.
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like too much.
Well, you don't want to be sad.
You don't want to be sad, pathetic, or like you just don't want it. Like you have to find what the parameters are. Like
Sure.
I'm being 100% honest, but not 150%.
I don't want to
honest.
drag you into my shit, so I'm going to stop there.
Right, but I want to drag you in, but not totally drag you in it with me. Like I want you to feel my pain, but don't. I don't want you to live it.
Yeah,
So just kind of. So I love doing it, and in between things, it's a fun thing. I enjoy doing it, and it's exciting.
Well,
and,
good, man. Well, congratulations on that. Are you doing any movies right now?
I just finished a movie with Liev Schreiber. I feel like the title might change, but it's called The Bleeder. It's about Chuck Wepner, who's actually the person that really inspired Rocky. He's a boxer that was sort of a ham and egg boxer.
Yeah.
He fought Muhammad Ali. He knocked Muhammad Ali down. He almost went the full distance. Essentially, that was what his career was defined by until the actual movie Rocky came out.
Uh-huh.
And when the actual movie Rocky came out and Stallone was talking about being inspired by Chuck Wepner, it essentially drove the real Rocky, the real Chuck Wepner, crazy, because he was like, that's my fucking life. And it's a great script. Liev is fucking awesome, and great story.
Is he still alive, Wepner?
He's still alive.
So
and
he must be feeling good about it.
Yeah, man, and he's literally like the real Rocky, like his whole life, and like the way that movie affected him, the success of Rocky, and him being like, wait a minute, that's fucking me, and then no one's they're like, the Academy Awards. He's like, well, I won. And they're like, you didn't win shit. Rocky won.
Yeah.
And it affected this guy.
Well, did Sly ever reach out to him?
Yeah. Sly reached out, and there was stuff. I don't want to say too much or say too little.
It's in the movie?
Well, it's in the movie. Not that I'm giving away things, but there was legality ththings.
Right.
But it's all stuff it's public. It's out there. Like they came to a settlement because when you look at it, like he talked about it. When Stallone did Rocky, he didn't know it was going to be Rocky. It was $1 million movie.
Yeah.
It was like a fucking independent movie starring a guy named Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah.
Who was not Sylvester Stallone at the time. But that was one of the things.
Right.
I'm going to star in my movie. Like we're going to get James Caan or fucking Paul Newman. And he's like, no, that's the way we're going to make the movie. So that's a great story. But that movie, seeing that and hearing this guy talk about, well, I was inspired by Chuck Wepner fighting Muhammad Ali. It drove the real guy crazy in a way.
Right.
So this movie's about that part of his life, and it's a good.
Sounds interesting.
Yeah, it's good. Who
directed it?
This guy named Philippe Fardu. He's a Montreal Canadian.
Yeah.
He's a French Canadian. He's
Yeah.
a Montreal Canadian. But so I'm not pronouncing his last name good. But he did a few movies, and he's good, and it's good pedigree of people. In
Oh,
it.
great. So you're working, man. You're
I
always
can't
working.
complain, man. I'm knock on wood. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Thanks for talking to me, buddy.
Yo, I appreciate it, Mark. And it's a privilege, and I'm gonna take this chair and put this fucking thing on eBay. Is that cool?
No,
No. Okay.
no.
All right. Fuck it.
All right.
All
Yeah,
right, cool.
maybe I'll find something you can have.
All right. Well, if there's a guy, they should frisk me because I've been pocketing shit the whole time. Like I'm thinking, like maybe Obama touched.